All right, let's talk about a city that's been haunted for 2,000 years by a single really weird word, lukewarm. We're diving into Laodikeia, this powerhouse of a city in ancient Turkey. I mean, it was incredibly wealthy, super powerful. So how on earth did it get stuck with such a strange and, frankly, unflattering reputation? That's what we're here to figure out.
Okay, so to really get this, we've got to go right to the source. Let's look at the exact words that put this city on the map, and not in a good way.
Wow. Yeah, that's a pretty devastating critique, right? It's from the Bible, the book of Revelation, written by St. John. And honestly, it's one of the absolute harshest warnings given to any of the early churches in that whole area. I mean, the image of being spit out, it's so visceral. It really sets the stage for what we're about to uncover. So that's the big question, isn't it? What could a whole city do to deserve being called lukewarm? To figure this out, we're going to have to act like historical detectives. We'll piece together clues from all over, from its geography, its economy, and from the incredible ruins that are still standing today. Okay, clue number one. And this one might be the most important piece of the puzzle. We're talking about the city's wealth. And I don't just mean prosperous. Laodikeia was staggeringly, almost unbelievably rich. And with that wealth came this fierce independence. So how did they get so rich? Well, their fortune was built on something pretty unique. The ancient geographer Strabo tells us they had this special breed of sheep. And this sheep's wool, it was this beautiful raven black color and exceptionally soft. Their textiles became famous across the entire Roman Empire. We're talking high fashion, high value stuff.
And their textile industry wasn't just some side hustle. It was so dominant that the city was sometimes literally nicknamed Trimiteria after its most famous product, the Trimita tunic. You have to think of it like a global brand today. It defined their identity and, of course, brought in an absolute ton of money.
Now, this next part, this says everything about the city's character. In 60 AD, a massive earthquake just flattens the place. Rome, being Rome, offers financial aid to help them rebuild, just like they did for other cities in the area. But Laodikeia, they proudly said, "No thanks, we got this." They were so wealthy, so self-sufficient, they rebuilt their entire city from the ground up using only their own money. Incredible.
So that wealth is a huge part of the story. Now for clue number two, let's take a walk through the city itself. Because the people of Laodikeia, they didn't just stash their money in a vault. Oh no, they carved their fortune right into the stone, creating a city that was just on another level of scale and grandeur.
I mean, just take a look at their stadium. This thing was one of the biggest in the whole region. But here's the kicker, it wasn't built by some emperor trying to show off. Nope, it was funded entirely by one wealthy local family as a gift to the city. A stadium for 25,000 people. That tells you everything you need to know about the kind of private wealth that was floating around. And they didn't stop there, not by a long shot. You see, most big cities at the time, they were super proud if they had one large theater. Laodikeia, they had two massive theaters. Put them together, and you could seat around 35,000 people. It's so clear this was a city that went all in on public spectacle and entertainment. And tying it all together was the famous Syria Street. Picture this, a main avenue, almost a kilometer long, completely lined with columns, fancy shops, and all these grand public buildings. It was the absolute heart of the city, this bustling artery connecting everything and everyone, a true ancient metropolis.
Okay, our final clue. And this one's a little different. It's about the city's religious identity. It seems like for the people of Laodikeia, faith wasn't just faith. It was all tangled up with civic pride, with status, and was competing against other cities for prestige.
Just look at their journey. This was a city that was always a major religious player. It starts out as Diospolis, the city of Zeus. Then later it becomes this key site for the Roman imperial cult. They even won the super prestigious Neokoros title, that's Temple Guardian, which was a huge deal that cities would fight over. And then it transitions again into a major Christian center, so important that it even hosted a big church council. You can see how their religious status was always a huge part of their civic pride. All right, let's put the pieces on the table. Clue number one, immense self-sufficient wealth. Clue number two, monumental pride carved in stone. And clue number three, a history of using religion to gain status. So, how does this all lead to lukewarm? It's time to connect the dots. And here it is. The key that unlocks the whole mystery is something as simple as their water. You see, just down the road was the city of Hierapolis, which was famous for its boiling hot, mineral-rich springs. People thought they had healing powers. Then you had other cities with cold, refreshing water. Laodikeia, though, they had to pipe their water in from miles away. And by the time it got there, it was tepid, it was chalky with minerals, it was literally lukewarm, and not in a good way. And that's the genius of it. St. John was using this powerful, three-layered metaphor that everyone in that city would have understood instantly. First, there's the literal meaning. Your water is gross and tepid. It's not hot and healing, it's not cold and refreshing, it's just meh. Second, the material meaning. You guys are just like your water. You're so self-satisfied with your wealth that you feel like you don't need anything from anyone, not from Rome, not from God. And third, the spiritual punchline. Your faith is uselessly tepid, just like your water. It's not passionately hot or decisively cold. It's just there, ineffective. But you know what? The story doesn't end there in ruins and warnings. Today, Laodikeia is having a major comeback. There's been this incredible award-winning restoration project that's brought its streets, its churches, its theaters back to life. The city is experiencing a total rebirth, and its powerful story is finally being told all over again. And that kind of leaves us with one last thing to think about, right? The warning to Laodikeia was really about the danger of becoming so comfortable, so self-sufficient, that you lose your fire, your passion, your purpose. So the question is, was that just a problem for some ancient city 2,000 years ago? Or is the challenge of not becoming lukewarm something we all still face today?